That would be really serious.
Have you ever been fired?
No, I tried to get fired once at my previous job, where I built the fort, and this animated adventure about it.
Yep.
I would show up to work drunk at 10 a.m. and they wouldn't fire me. They wouldn't reprimand me. And it got to the point where I had to quit because it's like I didn't respect them because I wasn't getting punished for all the bad things I was doing.
Why don't you just escalate it?
I did. I was doing like the absolute worst things I could.
Listen, it's one of those things you got to learn now in like today's society. It's really hard to get fired from a company.
Yeah. I don't know what I could have done more. Like I could have hired a hooker and fucked her, at the office, and maybe I'd still be there. I don't know.
Go ahead. We're listening, Mr. Sorola. You think that would work in our office? What would it take to get fired in our office? We've actually fired people, but I mean, what would it take for like Gavin? Let's just say Gavin. What would it take for Gavin to get fired? Please, I'd like to know.
Yeah. What would it take?
Punching somebody would be
a physical fight.
Yeah.
What if?
Although it'd be hard to draw the line between like, it was a behind the scenes thing where we kicked each other in the balls.
Yeah, people slap Gavin all the time.
It's true.
It's funny.
Next time somebody hits you, would you like for them to be fired?
Nah.
It's in the employee handbook.
The employees of Rooster Teeth definitely have an advantage that no other employees have, where as long as there's a camera present, you can just do pretty much whatever you want.
No, that's not true. Hullum.
You're
the CEO
they
now.
come up like that.
We had carte blanche.
Just whatever you're doing, doesn't matter. Look, camera right there. It's fine.
There's four cameras here right now.
Camera. Totally fine.
I wrecked your car. Camera.
So I'd like to go back to talking about something.
I still have the first check I ever got making money off of the internet. We, back when we were doing Ugly Internet, we had banner ads on the website, and we were part of like a banner ad network.
What was it back then? What was the network?
It was Cha-Cha.
Wow. I don't remember that at all.
And we got a check from them for like $24.
Whoa.
And we framed it.
Yeah. Why cash it when you can frame it?
I also remember the first time we ever got a check from GameStop when they started selling our DVDs retail, and Jeff lost it. Like it was almost like with my kid.
In his defense, he says you lost it.
He's a fucking shithead. I would never lose a check like that. I handed him the check because it was like the biggest check either of us had ever seen in person, and I handed it to him. It's like literally, he was like handing it to like a 5-year-old. And like hand it to him, turn around, do a full revolution, go, where's the check? Goes, oh. Where's the check? Where is it? I mean, we hunted up and down the street looking for that check.
And it was like on Congress, right?
I had to call them and get a reissue. It was like on South Congress. We were going to lunch to celebrate.
You handed it to him in the street?
I handed to him in the car. And then we get out of the car and I go, I need the check back. He goes, I don't have it. Idiot. So it just disappeared instantaneously. My kid does that.
Where do you think that check is now?
I don't even want to think about it. Somebody found it and went, who
you think there's like some hobo in Austin who's like, look at all the money I got. He was like, I just don't want to cash it.
One of these days. Yeah, but my kid, we one time went to the movies, and Teddy, my youngest, who's the most irresponsible kid on the planet, he takes off his shoes and then he loses them, and then he puts it on you. Like, where are my shoes? Like, I don't know where your damn shoes are. They're your shoes. Put them in the same place. So one time he had one shoe on at the end of a movie, and we hunted up and down the rows for his other goddamn shoe. And finally we found it. Not down 3 rows, up 3 rows.
How does that happen?
I don't even know. So we find it. It's 15 minutes. They're cleaning out the theater, all that stuff. The guys are sweeping the popcorn up and everything. And finally, he's like, so I put down Ty's shoe because he wasn't old enough to tie his shoes yet. This a couple of years ago. Then we go walking. We walk 3 steps down. He's crying. And I turn around and go, why? He goes, I lost my shoes. He literally, this is not a joke. We went 40 feet and he didn't have his shoes anymore. He didn't know where they were.
If I had the ability to, at the end of my life, find out all the stuff that was confusing during my life, like, I would probably want to, most people
It'd be like 30 terabytes of stuff.
Most people would want to know what actually happened to JFK, who really shot him and all that. But I think I would just use it for stuff that happened in my life, just little tiny mysteries.
Like what? What's a tiny mystery for Gavin Free?
Well,
what happened at VidCon last year? That would be a big one.
I don't need to know any of that. But there was, like, for example, there was a time where I was having a good time with a lady, and
like sex stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was a Johnny involved.
Okay.
And all of a sudden it was just like, and I just heard it split, and then it was gone.
You want to know where it went?
We were looking everywhere for it. I was looking on the ceiling fan and stuff because I thought it might have pinged up.
Probably looking in the wrong place.
Yeah, and she checked up her, but it wasn't there either.
You'd be surprised. There's nooks and crannies you can't get into. I found it about 4 days later.
That is a gynecological term, isn't it? Nooks and crannies.
It is. Well, that's
Well, it's not in the nooks. It might be up in the crannies somewhere.
That's semester 2 of anatomy, gross anatomy. Nooks and crannies.
I remember that biology 101.
where you
Nooks and crannies.
But what are the chances, like the entire thing and the ring just getting
It was
engulfed?
everything. Even the ring.
Everything was gone about it. It was like I never wore one.
How does that happen?
And the possibility is that I was drunk and I might not have put one on. But we looked probably for like an hour that night and then like all morning the next day.
Do you know what the only appropriate way to end that, though, is? End that encounter is just at the end when she goes, I can't find it, go. Ta-da. That's the only thing you can do.
Women love magicians, right?
So you would know, though, because you would have a rapper left, at least. Or did the rapper...
No, there was.
Did everything go?
The rapper was in the dresser and it just went poof.
It went up in a cloud of smoke.
I think I saw this on David Copperfield. Didn't you do this trick once?
That's how we got Claudia Schiffer.
No.
That's how we locked her in.
We were actually worried that it pinged out the window.
That'd be the worst thing ever, to be walking on the street.
I remember.
High velocity Johnny.
I like that you called it a Johnny too, to like have solidarity with Gavin.
Absolutely.
High Velocity Johnny sounds like a bad animated series.
But there's another town also in Central Texas that got bought by there's a restaurant chain in Central Texas called Bikinis.
Oh yeah.
And the guy who owns Bikinis bought a town in Central Texas and renamed it Bikinis.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah.
Do you know where he got all that money?
Where?
Jack and Joel. They go to that freaking restaurant every single day.
Yeah.
Especially when we worked downtown, there was Bikinis on 6th Street, and it was like 11:15. Let's go to Bikinis. Like every single day. There was never a time when they did, and most of the time they wouldn't eat lunch.
Yeah, I went there with them a few times.
I bet you did.
And just to eat lunch, but I don't know. I can't look at Jack look at a girl for too long because I get the chills.
Yeah.
He's there.
It's unfortunate if Jack is drooling before the food comes.
Because he'll be eyeing up a girl and be like, she's hot. But then he'll like look at her for too long and then be like, like start making really pervy noises.
Yeah. Does he really vocalize like that?
Sometimes. Especially when watching videos. Any Kate Upton thing.
That's really funny.
There's absolute mentals out there, right? Do you think if I just stood out in public with my penis out, that if enough women came by, eventually one of them would just fancy it?
I think you'd probably be like confronted by the police before that would happen.
There'd probably be several
That'd be an
dudes.
interesting test.
Yes, that too.
There'd probably be several dudes interested before a lady comes
I would
by.
bet more guys would go for it than girls.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Guys are awesome. Some random dick, I'll suck it.
I didn't say that, Gus. He was pretty vague about it.
So would you do it if there was a woman, like a hot woman out?
Oh, God, no. It's like some kind of trick, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely a trap.
How
Something's
hot
gonna
would a
happen.
woman have to be for you to go there?
What do you mean?
Never.
What's the question?
How hot would that girl have to be for you to go down on her in public? She's just whipping out her munge or midge, whatever
Move
it's
your
called.
mic up. Yeah. How would you do it?
I probably would be embarrassed.
All right, I'm listening to Brandon's giving directions. I was listening to that, so that was pretty dumb. What did you say?
Gus is great at multitasking. He's just looking at me going,
Barbara's mic was out of position. I was making
I'm
sure.
sorry, I had
it
to
was
fix
okay.
it. You're fine.
You're
You guys
fine
see
on
Ray's
that front.
haircut?
Yeah, I was going to
Okay.
say, before we get too far off the Ray topic,
Oh my God.
we need to discuss his haircut.
His haircut is like the worst thing I've ever seen.
Apparently he
It's
falls asleep
fucking
when he gets his
awful.
hair.
and he said that's a normal thing. He's like, yeah, I fall asleep all the time.
Never heard about that.
I've never done that once.
I've wanted to fall asleep before.
Does anybody fall asleep in a haircut?
Who does that?
I would say, especially like maybe sometimes you'll go in a
I'll
little
get
fucked
sleepy.
up, or maybe you're drunk, or whatever.
It's
Ray
certainly
wasn't.
boring.
He was Ray.
It merits
So,
sleep
like,
because it's boring,
He
but
tweeted that it was a terrible haircut. I didn't believe it. I was like, whatever. I didn't even click at the picture.
Yeah.
And then my wife was like, oh my God. Did you see Ray's haircut?
That's what happened when I
it was
came to
bad.
Jeff's house, and I was like to these guys, I was like, did you guys see Ray's haircut?
All right,
Both of you were like, no.
His head looks like if you shaved your beard then licked the top of your thumb and put it in your shavings and then put your thumb back
That's
up,
what
right?
I was saying. He looks like a thumb with hair on
A
it.
thumb with a haircut.
It's pretty awful. It's pretty awful. He should either start. There's a picture of it. It's pretty awful.
It's like
He should either start wearing a hat now or just get it buzzed.
I like how they had that ready to go.
He should just get it shaved off. But you know what? He looks like a Saints Row 3 character. That was like my dude in Saints Row 3.
Ray posted the journal about it, and then that got linked on the Rooster Teeth subreddit, obviously. And like a bunch of people were like, "Oh, it's not that bad." Anyone who says it's not that bad, you're a fucking
bad.
idiot. You're full of shit. You're an idiot.
I didn't think it was that
It's
bad
awful.
until I saw him
No,
this
it's
morning in
fucking
person.
awful, and that's why Ray made a journal entry about it, because it's like Ray isn't the most, like.
hair of the dog and all that.
Yeah.
Gavin, so here's another thing. Let's throw that out there as far as like an English American thing. So I don't have my work email connected to anything outside of work. So I just check it on like Monday through Friday. So I came in this morning and I was going through my emails and I had the email from you saying like, hey, do you want to be on the podcast? And I looked at the list and it was obviously the four of us. So I look at Gavin and I was like, oh, hey, did you see the podcast lineup? And he's like, yeah, I can't be bothered with the podcast. I was like, what does that mean? What do you mean you can't be bothered? And he's like, oh, I'm just too tired. I'm just too tired. Like I'm really hungover. I'm too tired. I can't do it. And he's like, I'm too bothered. It's a bother.
But you take that to mean a different thing.
No, I don't take that to mean a different thing. I take that to mean exactly what it means. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I just didn't reply. And then during that said meeting, that's when you said, someone was like, who's the lineup for the podcast? And you're like, oh, it's Barbara, Jordan, Gus, Gavin, and Michael hasn't replied yet. And I was like, oh, I'll do it. And I said to Gavin later, I was like, you said you couldn't be bothered with it. And he's like, yeah, but I'm going to do it. And I was like, wait, what?
That doesn't mean I'm not doing it.
That's absolutely what it means.
That's what it means. I can't
That's
be bothered with it.
absolutely
It's
what
like,
it means.
I'm too busy. I'm too important for that.
He's like, can't be bothered with it means like, I don't want to do it, but I will do it. I'm like, that's absolutely not what it means. That's not what it means
The
at
way
all.
I mean it is like, man, I want to go to bed. Oh.
Right, but that's not what you said. You said I can't be bothered with it.
That's not what that means.
I can't be bothered with it means no, I don't have the time. I'm not going to do it.
Right.
That's the absolute definition for it.
Yeah, but
period.
if I didn't do all the things that I can't be bothered to do, I wouldn't even bother getting up.
That doesn't make any sense.
Every
You
morning,
just
your
makes
whole
no
life
sense.
is just
You're
all
just saying
your
words that don't make sense. I can't be bothered with it.
Every morning I can't be bothered to get up.
But you
But I
can
get up.
But that means you can be bothered
You're
with it
using
because
the
you've done it,
definition wrong.
asshole. You're saying it wrong. I can't be bothered with means something
So-
you're not going to do at all.
This
You
after-
can't be bothered with the fit challenge. That's
And then
what
you don't do
can't be
it, and
bothered
that's
with.
it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some stuff doesn't happen, does it? Yeah.
Yes, some stuff doesn't
You're
happen.
fucking
Very
good,
astute.
Gavin. I hate
So
like
this
that.
afternoon, Gavin came up to me, and he threw a chocolate gold coin at my dick, and was like, "Let's not do the podcast today."
Yeah, I was like, sack it off. Let's not do it. And then I had 7 Red Bulls, and now I
Did
feel
you guys
great.
do it?
Yeah, we're doing it right now. We can't be bothered with
Can't be
it.
bothered to do
We
it.
can't be bothered. I'm extremely bothered. But
Right, so what
here I am.
terminology would you use? It's like, there's a thing tonight, but I don't feel like doing it.
I don't feel like
I
doing
don't
it.
feel like doing
But
it.
that means you're not going to do it.
But that to me means more that
That's
I'm
not.
not going to do it.
No, that doesn't.
I don't feel
feel like-
like
I don't feel like it is not a commitment to not doing it.
What you're trying to convey is like I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, there you go.
But I am looking forward to it. I was not looking forward to it. I was like,
You can't be bothered.
What are you talking about?
Speaking in paradoxes.
Dude, I hope it's like people are ready to turn down my microphone because I'm about to freak out. Like it doesn't make any sense what you're fucking saying. It makes no sense.
Even Cat's like is confused.
You don't want to be bothered with it. No, even that's too much. No.
just
Nah, that guy's-
bothered, being bothered by it.
No, just like
not
man,
bothered
podcast,
by it.
it's gonna be a
if you
pain in the
enjoy
ass.
it.
like, no. I'm always excited to do the podcast, but I'm hungover and tired.
Right. So like I
Whose
just
fault
said,
is
that'd be
that?
like, oh man, podcasting it's gonna be rough, Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be, and here's why, but I'm gonna do it. It's like, he literally went, nah, I can't be bothered with that.
So what? You picture me just being like, nah, and just like not doing it.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Why would I?
One
do it all the
time I
time.
forgot
If
to
you're
email you about the
busy or something.
podcast. So when since we're talking about dating, when I first started going out with Esther, I had this really weird thing happen where we went out on a couple of dates, and this was years ago. This was like 7 years ago, right? So it was early 06. So Rooster Teeth had been around for about 3 years at this point. So obviously not nearly as big as it is now. So like on our third date or so, I was like, I have to tell her about Rooster Teeth. I have to tell her about this stuff. So
Were
I
you
said-
worried she was gonna like
So-
dump you because of
She
it?
didn't ask you your job on the first date.
I told her about this internet stuff, but I'm like, this will become more relevant as the story continues. So I sat down with her, and I was like, listen, I do this stuff on the internet, and I'm kind of famous. And she's
kind of a big deal.
yeah, right. Get out of here. I'm like, no, listen, it's going to happen. Like, someone's going to recognize me, and I just don't want you to freak out. I'm telling you right now. She's like, shut up. Get out of here. So like whatever, I told her, I was like, okay, good. She's prepared for it. So then we went to a Starbucks to get some coffee.
How much did you pay this person?
Literally, we walk in and the barista's like, "Oh my God, you're Gus from Rooster Teeth." She's like, "How much did you pay that guy?" Like, "Did you plan this?" I was like, "No, this is totally just happening." She's like, it was like literally within 5 minutes of me telling her, someone recognized me.
But seriously, how much did you pay that guy?
It was like $100. No, it was like totally
written on his
randomly
hand.
weird.
You're Gus from Rooster Teeth. Am I saying that right?
Roster Toth.
Those are tough.
It wasn't in Austin. It was like in some other shitty little town.
I'm sorry.
We were
Chris.
filming
you,
something
Chris.
recently here, and as part of it, I had to act like I was eating. So they gave me a can of almonds from Chris's desk. They were coconut flavored almonds.
What?
Wait, a nut that's flavored like a different nut.
Yeah,
What?
it
Is
was.
a coconut a nut or a fruit?
I don't know.
It's a fruit, I think.
Is it? I don't think it is. It doesn't have seeds.
I don't know.
What, fruit has to have seeds?
I think
Look
so.
this up.
Weird though
doesn't
for a
have seeds.
nut to be
Where are
this
the seeds?
big.
They're
though.
in it.
Yeah.
You see it when you take a bite out of it.
And
They're like in
also
the middle of the little
strange
black
like
parts.
It's like a
in it.
fucking
But they're
burger
soft.
with an egg on it.
You just blew my mind.
Anyway, so it was the
weirdest
grossest
thing
thing I've ever eaten. Between every take, I would have to eat them and act like I was eating. Then I was just spitting them on the floor. I was like, this is fucking
They
disgusting.
couldn't find you anything else that you actually like to eat.
There was nothing.
Go to the kitchen across the fucking way.
No,
It's
they're like-
another
they're like,
building.
"Here,
There's
we-
tons of actual food.
We have coconut flavored almonds.
Here's some ham. It's
probably because Chris
fucking
doesn't know the-
turkey.
This is
you
the.
know?
I don't know if I'm like in a reliable source. It says it's a droop. Wait, which
Now
the
you-
coconut,
stop.
which
That's
means the
good.
coconut can be all three: a fruit, a nut, and a seed.
That's a load of.
What?
Seed.
Fuck you.
You can't
How about that?
plant a coconut and grow palm trees, can you?
So, speaking of planning stuff,
fibrous one-seeded droop.
I've got a bone to pick again
Oh
Okay.
shit.
Go
with
ahead.
the fucking squirrels at my house.
They're
Yeah.
chucking shit.
Man, those
Are
guys
they
are
bullying you again?
assholes.
So I have like this community garden plot kind of close to my house that I go to, and I grow like fruits and vegetables and shit. And it's under a pecan tree, so every now and then like a pecan will fall into the soil, and like a little pecan tree will start sprouting. So the other day I was like, all right, I'm gonna take this pecan tree, I'm gonna plant it at my house. Like there's a tree I don't like, I'm gonna plant this pecan tree. It's tiny, it's like this big. I'm in 20 years there's gonna be a pecan tree here,
Right.
or 100 years, or however long
That'll
it
be like
takes.
the
Million.
mark on the earth.
Yeah.
Will be that tree.
So it's like I planted it, I started watering it, I was taking good care of it. I was like, yeah, it's taking, it's all green, it's gonna be awesome. Like a week after I planted it, I walked out and there was a fucking squirrel. He had ripped it out of the ground. He had bit off the stem, bit off the root, and just ate the nut that was like the seed. I was like, you fucking asshole. Like I walked out in the morning to come to work and like he stopped with it in his mouth and like turned to look at me. And I looked at him, I was like, what the fuck? He just like took off running. I was like, God damn.
Did you give chase?
Yeah, I chased him. Then he like ran up the tree immediately.
I didn't think you would actually
I was so
chase him.
fucking
I didn't think you would actually chase the squirrel.
I was so fucking angry.
Like you do this, like
He crawled up the tree and I'm like, God,
Were you in like a bathrobe at the same time?
straight to the moon. No, I was on my way to work, so like I had my backpack. So I'm sure I was like running like a fat kid down the street.
and then you were out of breath.
I'll
driving to
say
work.
this for like this.
Those bills that you owed.
We talked about it fucking forever ago.
Yeah, that was
we
like
talked
a
about
year
it in
ago.
the podcast and when it happened.
Yeah.
I paid Gavin with your dick money during the podcast.
Dick money.
You were on a podcast that I wasn't on. There was a stupid bet we had, and Gavin won, and I had to pay him. And I was annoyed about it, but I was still going to pay him because I'm not a bitch like Jack. And
And funny enough, it was about a TV.
it was about a TV. It was whether my TV was LCD or LED, and I was convinced it was LED, and Gavin was convinced it was LCD for the price that I paid for it. And I went home, and I was like, "Fucking idiot! God damn it!" And like I knew, so it's like it ruined my whole lunch because I saw it at the beginning
Yeah.
of lunch for like an hour. I knew I had to pay Gavin $50, so I came back. Fully intended on paying him. I think I paid him like the next day or something. But like I got 2 20s and a 10, and before I paid him, I went up to Barbara and I'm like, so can you draw dicks like all over this shit? So she drew on each side something
I was
different.
like-
So there was 6 unique like cock images all over the bills, and it was like people riding on cock rainbows, like all kinds of shit. And then in the middle of a podcast, I walked in and gave Gavin that $50. And then you gave someone that one of those bills in a bathroom attendant.
That was it. Well, I think most of it I gave back to you for a different bet, but one
Well,
of them
see, you're so dumb. You didn't just deposit the money in a bank. Like you
that
could've-
involves going to a bank.
It involves going to a bank and
can't be
depositing
bothered.
money. So Gavin just held on to it forever. And then in what scenario did you use it?
the one thing I spent was at PAX East, not this year, the last year.
2012.
Yeah, and you know those annoying arsehole guys that stand in bathrooms and expect you to tip them
Oh,
for
yeah.
giving you a tissue. Thanks, dude. I couldn't
Were you
do
at a
that,
strip
mate.
club?
No, it was in.
No, it was our party. It was our party. It was a bathroom attendant.
So he like, I'm there, I'm taking a piss, I'm doing this in the sink, and he goes and squirts soap into my hand. So now I owe him a tip. Thanks, dude. And I gave him $20, and he was like, ah. And I was like, don't worry, it's got a dick on it. I'm not giving you $20.
You said beforehand, you were like, I got a 20, but it's got dicks all over it. And the guy was like, I don't give a fuck.
He was like, I'll take
I'll
it.
take your dick.
Yeah. And then,
Yeah, no shit, he'll take it.
you gave me 30 back eventually from a bet that you had to pay me. You saved the dick money. And then, I will say, for the sake of this podcast, if we're going to throw it out there, I think I have it still.
You kept that in your wallet.
Get ready to
Dude,
zoom in.
because here's the thing. I'm saving it until I have to pay you back.
Now I'm worried.
Oh
that
my
you're
God.
So I have
can't believe you still
120.
have
This
that.
is like over a year ago. I have 120 left. So if you want to zoom in on it, there's the front. There's Barbara's dick drawings all over it. This is 20.
That's a little guy.
All the
buying it.
$50 that I owed Gavin, and then here's the back in a totally different. There's a dick mushroom involved, and there's there's two dicks leading into the main dick. I've had this for over a year in my wallet. This is my safety 20. It's gonna go to you if I owe you money, or if I'm stranded in the middle of nowhere and need $20. Somebody's gonna get dick bucks.
Can you deface money? Can you deface money to the point where like it lost all its value? Like,
I think only if you like cover it up so it's more than 50% shown.
Yeah, I think
That's
if you have
total bullshit, I don't know.
51% visible and intact, they have to accept it.
Yeah.
I'll take this
It's
dick
the same
money.
way if money is ripped in half.
Yeah.
If you
Right.
have
It's
more
like
than
2/3.
50% or
What
I
if
think
you
it's
cut it in
2/3.
exactly two 50%
Then
pieces?
you are
Exactly.
boned.
you could probably argue.
I gotta piss.